Good morning, commuters. Welcome. My name is Matt Malone. This is the Commuter Podcast. 82,539 miles on the 2008 Ford Escape. It's an early Friday morning. Got to be at work an hour early today, so it's it's just a quarter after 5 a.m. right now. Sun's barely peeking through. What are we going to talk about today? I don't know. This may just be a rambler. This could just be a rambler. There's a nice low fog over the fields. It's a very cool, crisp morning. It's June already. I mean, we're in the middle of June already. And the weather's just absolutely beautiful. I actually streamed yesterday. That was a really good time. And I left you hanging. I was doing an oval race. It was Class A fixed at Michigan. And it was the end of the race. I'm not going to spoil it, but it was at the end of the race. And I'm looking at some replay, blah, blah, blah. And I look up to OBS in the chat on the fourth monitor, and there's not a whole lot going on, and OBS in the bottom right is just red, and I had lost internet connection. I was like, alrighty then. So that was the end of the stream. It just ended abruptly, so sorry about that, but nothing you can do really with the internet. We've had some internet issues for whatever reason these last couple days. Just like goes down for like an hour or two, and then it pops up for no reason. Mediacom, I tell you, Mediacom. It's not so bad though. Where I live, the only internet I can get is Mediacom, and they do sell like a business package, but it is way overpriced. In the old place, I had Comcast Business. I had major issues with the internet in the old place. It was all over the power lines, the internet, and it used to go out all the time for like storms and stuff. My power used to go out all the time, but where I live now, it's all underground. So unless they're like working on it, we usually don't have any issues, but I don't know what they've been doing lately. So sorry about the abrupt end of the stream last night, but it was a good time. Did a Mazda race, did a IMSA race, and an oval race. So the IMSA race and the oval race will be on the YouTube sometime this weekend. Since the internet went out, I couldn't upload it till like late last night, so I just let the computer run all night to upload those two videos. So be looking out for that this weekend. Yeah, Friday, it's the end of the week. Ooh, what are your weekend plans? What are my weekend plans? I have no idea. I think Samantha is planning on reorganizing the closet. Being a homeowner and a newlywed, it's full of activities every weekend, I tell you. I stopped by Home Depot. You know, we bought a reciprocator saw because we got this stump. In the front flower bed, and it's one of those gnarly. It's not just like one big stump. It's like a million different stumps coming out. It's like I don't know what it was. It's like a big bush or something, and a damn stump. We can't dig it out. We can't pull it out. So we're gonna cut it out. So we went and bought a reciprocator saw, and I was like, we're gonna buy. It was like a $70 reciprocator saw, And I'm like, what else are we going to use this for? I'm like, I want to know different I'm not going to buy this one tool just for one job and then have it sit there. I mean, tools are cool. Trust me. I'm slowly acquiring some tools as a homeowner, you know. But I'm sure there's a bunch of uses. So tell me what kind of jobs or what kind of uses I can use for a reciprocator. So I know they sell a whole bunch of different blades. I mean, you can cut anything with it, I guess. I could even cut some of my 80-20 with it, I suppose, if I buy the right blade with it. But you can cut PVC pipe, cut whatever, I guess. Little wood projects, you just need a quick cut. But they also sell those little like flat-edged blades that you would get with like not a miter saw, a Dremel. You get like one of those Dremel tools, and they sell those little flat metal blades on it that just kind of vibrate. And you can get real precise with it, like get real surgical with stuff and cut stuff like that. But I don't know. I said before, I'm not much of a handyman, but I can cut stuff up, I suppose. Also, tell me if this is weird. I'm 35 years old, and I've just found out that my wife and maybe other people brush their teeth with warm to hot water. This blew my freaking mind, and I think it's a travesty. If you're somebody that is brushing their teeth with warm to hot water, you might want to go get a mental checkup, because that to me is unbelievably crazy. I mean, I can't imagine brushing your teeth with warm water. Answer this down in the comments below. If you're brushing your teeth with warm water, and why you need a psych evaluation. I couldn't believe that. And I was so perplexed when Samantha told me this. So I had some follow-up questions. I'm like, you intentionally make the water warm to brush your teeth? And she clarified. She's like, well, if the water just happens to start getting warm, she's like, I'm not going to freak out. I'm like, what? Because I'm brushing my teeth with Arctic cold water. I mean, I've got it cranked all the way to the right. No questions asked. That's how it feels more refreshing. I couldn't believe it. I thought it was just standard to brush your teeth with really cold water. I had no idea. So let me know about that. Unbelievable. Couldn't believe it. Could not believe it. So anyway, I don't know what the topic today is. I guess just rambling. I want to talk a little bit about Amazon. And Amazon, as you know or may not know, they moved to 1 day. Now it's Amazon Prime is 1 day free shipping. And it's just kind of funny that I've actually, at my work, I've been actually doing some jobs for Amazon buildings. And the more I look and the more I drive around and travel for work, and I live in the Midwest near the city, and sometimes my jobs take me to, closer into the city. And there's a job in Elgin, Illinois that I'm actually going to today, that I've been to a couple times already this week. And it's an Amazon building. And it just amazes me what Amazon has been able to do and the way they've been able to do it. So, obviously, in order to get you whatever dumb widget that you bought at 6 p.m. on a Thursday is going to be there at Friday at like 1 p.m. or whatever, is because they have all of these buildings with they got like 10 of each item just sitting in the warehouse just waiting for something. I mean, the logistics behind it, the planning, they got this stuff down to a freaking science, man. They know exactly what people are buying, where they're buying it, how much of it they're buying. I mean, the inventory they do, and just like I said, the science behind it, it just blows my freaking mind. And there's this building, it's a storage building, a big warehouse building. And now there's like people looking at me. I'm doing the Malone Commuter podcast. What's it to you, bud? And it's just crazy because they just got all these buildings, and they're just warehouses, and they just stock it full of, a little bit of each item so they can get it to you in one day. I mean, like this microphone I bought, it was at my house the next day. It's just crazy, man. Like, how spoiled are we? And I'm starting to see more and more, because usually just the United States Postal Service, just your regular mailman, gets the majority of the delivery, right? They just hand it off to them, and some of it's UPS. I forget, but it's the majority is United States Postal Service is doing the delivery. But then I see more and more just within this year is the big. They're like the Ford Transit vans. They're like the big. It's like those big vans. They're like medium-sized vans that are real tall, and they're gray, like the Amazon gray color, and they say Amazon Prime right on them, and they're like their own like delivery fleet, and they're out and about rushing around. I mean, you see those guys going all hours of the night. It's just crazy, man. And I heard from somebody that that's more for like the rural areas. Now look around, it's pretty rural around here in some of the parts where I live. So I guess that's maybe when you're out in the country or something, they send out the fleet of Amazon trucks just to fulfill orders. But there's a job I did in Moni, Illinois yesterday, and coming back I drove by, it was near Route 80 or something, just this huge Amazon facility. And this must have been definitely a place where they got a lot of workers, because a lot of these distribution centers, there's not like a whole lot of employees. Like they'll usually have like a robot on the inside and like some people, and it's usually just like moving a lot of product here and there. But this particular Amazon building, I mean, the parking lot was massive, and there was a boatload of cars, just regular pedestrian cars inside in the parking lot. So that must have been like where they're actually like processing orders, like packaging stuff. A lot of that stuff going on where you hear all the stories of like Amazon employees, like they don't even get any breaks, and they're on their feet for whatever 10-12 hours a day, and they're getting, I think they only get paid like $12-13 an hour. I could be wrong. And maybe that's where all the horror stories come from, is a building like that. I mean, beautiful building, must have been 1 million square foot building, and just huge Amazon signs all over it, and absolutely amazing. But this building that I'm going to today, just a regular warehouse building. I don't think it's going to have a whole lot of employees there, just more of a distribution hub, because it's right off the interstate and everything. But so it's funny because I work I'm in soils and concrete and asphalt and all that stuff. I'm there like at the very beginning of projects, and it's in a business park, right? And it's just a normal piece of land, and they're gonna put a big square building. There's not much to it really, but the way they go about it is pretty cool, because Amazon's got some money, I'll tell you that. So you have your piece of dirt, your building pad, right? And then after that, it goes down a little bit, so where you have all your parking lots. So you have your big piece of dirt. I don't know how. Man, Malone, are you a scientist? Man, I can barely follow. What are you saying? Are you saying there's a pile of dirt and they build a building on it? Wow, that's fascinating. No, So usually with dirt, the dirt's got to be hard, right? So if you're building a pad, you dig from one area, bring in the dirt and put it on and spread it out and pack it in, right? And that's part of my job, where when you're moving dirt is to make sure that it's packed in at the proper compaction level. And a lot of that has to do with the moisture content of the dirt, of the soil. Let's get technical. I hope I don't lose anyone here when I'm talking about soil and moisture content. It's very moist. Like a clay, you don't want it too wet because then it's not as strong, and whenever you see like the native soils, like soils that have never been touched by humans, like that's very strong. Usually, typically, as long as you don't touch it, you can get away with a lot more. But as soon as you rip up the dirt and mix it up and spread it out and then compact it, now you're looking at a situation where you've got to get that dirt with almost zero voids in the soil and compact it like optimally so it doesn't settle. Because when you got dirt sitting here for centuries or years and years and years, thousands of years, it's already settled. There's no more settling to the dirt. It's as low as it's going to go, right? But if you uproot a bunch of soil and mix it all up and throw it out somewhere, if you've ever dug a hole in your yard or something, you know that you got to put more dirt in there because it's going to settle. Anyway, this is obvious to most people. So anyway, the building pad is built. I think this is an old site. Sometimes when they just build huge areas, they just build building pads and pack it in and for future use, and then they can sell it as like build ready or whatever. But if you got somebody that comes in and they're like, well, this building pad's a little too small, or this building pad's a little too big, I'm going to chop it down. They got their plans to do. This guy's going slower than dicks. All right, we're passing them. Signals on. We're flooring it. We're coming through. Car on your right. Clear. Overtake. That guy was going slow. You know that you're not supposed to violate the speed limit when passing someone? That is the dumbest rule ever. It's an actual law. You're not supposed to go over the speed limit when passing someone, which I think is unsafe, because then it's going to take you like 30 seconds just to pass someone. Anyway, cruise control set, about 61. We're good. Yeah. So anyway, long story longer and more boring is they got this building pad. Now the building pad, I went and looked at it. I'm like, this seems pretty good, So you got your dirt pad, and then they'll usually bring in like 2 to 4 inches of stone, like road stone, and then they'll pour concrete over that, and that's your floor for your warehouse, right? Not that big a deal. Anyway, so they got this pad. I'm like, yeah, it seems pretty good, because the soil has to be really, really good at that top level before you bring in your stone, and then before you pour concrete. Obviously, it's got to be really strong. And usually, the way that they test that, this is a very scientific way of testing if dirt is hard enough to build on. This is what you do. This is like secrets of the industry. This is state secrets that are super confidential. I'm going to expose this to everybody right now during the Malone Commuter podcast. Super scientific way of finding out if the soil is good enough to build on. This is what you do. You go get a dump truck. One of those big dump trucks, like a 6-wheeler, and you fill it with dirt, okay? So now you got a dump truck full of dirt, and then you drive really slowly on the soil, okay? You drive the dump truck fully loaded on the soil, and then you see if the soil below the truck moves. This is called a proof roll. very scientific. And then you're looking for whether it's pumping or rutting. You know, if it's like moving around as the truck goes over it, is the soil like, you know, is it moving underneath the tires? And then that's my job, is to walk behind the truck as he drives way too fast, and I got to keep telling him to slow down, dude. I'm not running. So yeah, that is a secrets exposed here on the podcast of how to find out if dirt is hard enough. Anyway, having a little fun there. Look, that's some soil comedy, you know, just for you guys out there. But long story longer. So I'm looking at this pad. I'm like, this thing would probably pass a proof roll. I'm like, this is pretty good soil. It's pretty good ground. I'm like, this seems pretty hard, nice and flat, looks great, you know. I'm like, we could put a truck on this right now, and we have like no issues, you know. No, guess what? They're doing what they call lime modification. Now, when you have soil that's just too wet and it's going to take too long to dry it out, so it's going to be dry enough to pack it in, and or there's a lot of different uses for it. But so what they do is they come in with either actual powdered cement or lime, which is a byproduct of, you know, at the quarry you get, it's like just really fine stone, or they use like fly ash. And what they do is they spread it out all over the soil. They get these trucks, it's like a spreader truck, and they spread it out all over the soil. And they'll usually have like a percentage, like, oh, we're putting 5.5%, or we're putting 6% lime or cement. And then they spread it all out, and then they get this huge, these machines are ridiculous. Ooh, there's a cop up here. Make sure you don't speed. They spread it out, and then they get these massive, it's literally like a massive rototiller, right? That will go in, and it mixes the lime with the soil at about, they say they can go like 16, 18 inches. But usually a good rule of thumb is like 12 to 14 inches or so. So they're mixing it in. And then they'll spray it with water to kind of activate it too, depending on the moisture of the soil already. And then they'll mix it up, and then they kind of level it off, and then they pack it in, right? They'll put a compactor on it. And what happens is, especially with not necessarily the lime, because lime doesn't really have much of an activation ingredient. There's not much of a chemical reaction going on with lime. Usually lime is just to kind of dry it out. But with cement and like fly ash, that's kind of like the ingredients to concrete, right? So you're looking at a chemical reaction with the water and the soil and the cement that they put in there. And so after like a day or two, so they did this on Wednesday they did this, and then today, you know, we're going to check it out because it's been a day or a day and a half or whatever to have it activate. It's just like concrete, where it's going to like literally set up and get hard. And so this way, so now at this point, like, I'm going to go to this job. This is just for documentation purposes. I mean, it's going to pass. It would have passed before. I mean, this thing is going to be literally as hard as a rock. It's going to be as hard as almost concrete, right? But I know we're talking about Amazon still, but what's funny to me is that Amazon is not messing around, right? They have everything planned out to a T as far as, you know, I'm sure they have like thousands of these buildings going in nationwide, and they're running on a schedule. And the schedule is, we're going to build this damn building, and we got everything scheduled out. It's got to be, I mean, they probably got it scheduled out to where down to the day, down to the hour of when they're going to be bringing product in. It's just, it amazes me, the logistics of all this, where, you know, let's move some dirt. At this point, we're going to get the building pad ready. At this point, you know, we're digging footings. And at this point, the precast guys are scheduled because we got to have this, and everything's lined up for this. And then at this certain date, you know, we're bringing product in, trucks are rolling, so and what this line, this overkill, the overkill on the building process is making it so there's no variability. You're excluding variables from the equation. So now at this point, the state in which this building is in right now, just dirt, but weather has no effect on it. We could have a monsoon today or tomorrow or the next week. It's not going to slow them down. You know what I'm saying? It's not going to affect their scheduling because they've over-engineered it. They've spent all this money on this lime stabilization process, cement stabilization process, to where they can just keep rolling, man. Limed it, boom, done. Bring in the stone, bring in the concrete, dig the piers, pour this, do this. It's like awesome. It's just, it blows my mind how much money they can spend and use just to make it so it fits their schedule. Because I'm telling you, man, they got this down to a science. They're not messing around. And they have to do it within a certain amount of time, because the longer it takes them to build that building, the longer it is before they get product in, and the longer it is before they get that extra distribution hub going, and the longer it is before they can start making money on it. I mean, it's really impressive, man. I guess at the end of the day, I'm just impressed, really. I'm impressed. I mean, I'm old enough to kind of remember, like, some mom and pop stores, and it's like, there's no way, like, some little rinky-dink, family-owned business is going to be able to compete. It's just, and whether or not that's a good thing or not, whether however you feel about, family-owned mom and pop stores, make sure you support your local business, and, I'm not saying either way, my opinion on that. I think it's good to have family-owned businesses, but you also have family-owned businesses that are huge chains, right? And that do really well, and they have good family values and stuff like that. But, dude, no one can compete with the operation that Amazon is right now. It is, I mean, and this is just a small, very small insight that I have with this one. It's like me taking a microscope and looking at just one pinpoint view of this whole monstrosity that is Amazon. I'm a customer. I'm an Amazon Prime member, so I get to see that part. I see the 1-day free shipping. I see, I've seen some the adaptation and the evolution of Amazon, what it's done just in my lifetime. And then I get to see this one little aspect of the building process of just one little building somewhere in the Midwest, and it's just like, it just amazes me. So just thought I'd talk about that for whatever reason. You got a little bit of Amazon talk, you got a little bit of insight on what I do for a living, but yeah, it's really cool. And no one, there's people I've heard that they're like, I never go to the grocery store, maybe for like some stuff, but they're like, I just order everything online on Amazon. Like, there's some people that they don't even go shopping anymore. They're just buying everything on Amazon. Like, you can buy food on Amazon. If you eat a lot of like processed food, like, you can buy a big case of like mac and cheese, right? You can buy some macaroni and cheese from Amazon in a big box. Boom, done. You can buy Gatorade. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and list the 14 billion products they have on Amazon. I think we'd be here a while. But yeah, it was just really cool to see that. And if you work for Amazon, let me know, or how it is, or if you deliver, if you're a United States Postal Service person and you deliver Amazon products, I've heard good and bad. Like, I've heard that they're really pushing, and it's like, oh, but then I've heard people that love the overtime. They love all the hours. It's super good for them because of job security for like a United States Postal Service worker. It's great for job security, and they absolutely love it. I've heard other people that absolutely hate it. So let me know if you're involved in any way of that, or just some insight to Amazon. And just that crazy thing that they went to 1-day free shipping. Now they're talking about drone delivery. Now I've heard a couple different things on this drone delivery stuff. I heard it's not true. I've heard that the drone delivery stuff is just a marketing tactic, meaning they're not actually going to be delivering your packages with a drone. They're like, they will. I mean, they'll deliver a package with a drone, but you better make sure there's going to be a camera on it, on the whole situation. It's going to turn into a commercial, meaning like any time that they'll deliver something with a drone, it's like almost like a media thing, like a photo op, and then they can use on their social medias, and they can get like news programs to do a story on them, and that's just a free advertisement, a free commercial for Amazon. Like there's so many articles that are written about drone delivery for Amazon, but guess what they're talking about? Amazon. And Amazon's still going to deliver your package within 1 day or less in some areas with a truck. You know what I'm saying? So that I think the drone, we'll see how it plays out, because I don't think it's economically beneficial to them. I think it's dumb. I think it's just not practical. Let's be honest. It's just not practical. And you know, I understand that if you live in Oklahoma, you know, 50 miles from an Amazon facility, they're not going to deliver your package with a drone. I understand that. I know that's not what they're saying. I understand that it's, you know, if you're in the city, or there's going to be just certain small areas within certain cities that, you know, they're going to do drone delivery. But I still don't believe that. I think it's more of a photo op, like look at us, like Amazon. People write articles about it. They do news stories about it. So I'll have to see how it plays out and actually see how many people are actually getting their delivery done by drone, because it doesn't make sense to me. It's very impractical in my opinion. And unless, you know, I don't know. I'm just saying I'm very skeptical of it. If you live in certain cities, they'll do like 30-minute to 1 hour deliveries for certain items. Like that's already a thing. I mean, if you want your package delivered by a drone, it's still not going to get there faster than some guy just running it over to you, right? I mean, unless they get to the point, the only way I can see it feasible is if they get to the point in like 20 years or whatever, or however long, 10 years, is where they got all the AI set up for the drones. Because right now, if you want a package delivered by a drone, there's someone controlling the drone, right? So you might as well just give the package to the kid controlling the drone and just have them run it over to you. You know, it makes no sense to me. So I think it's a media thing. But there could be a time where if all the drones were heavy-duty drones, they had certain areas that they controlled the airspace, and they had all these rules, and it was all done by AI, meaning like there'd be a one warehouse where all the drones were there, and like the drone would be activated, it would go grab the package really quick. It would, you know, after the package, you know, maybe the package would get activated, a robot would take it to a conveyor belt, it'd get, you know, the label would get printed on there, through, you know, all automatic, get through the belt, and then the drone would be activated as soon as it got scanned or whatever, and then it'd go pick it up, take it out. There'd be like an exit to the warehouse, like boom, up, over, drop it on, and then it would, you know, text you or whatever, or send you a notification when it got delivered, and then it'd go back. But that'd be in a really small area. I mean, some of these drones now are capable of going pretty far distances, but you're gonna get freaking hillbillies shooting them out of the sky, stealing packages. It doesn't solve many problems, but it creates many more problems, in my opinion. But we'll see how it goes. It's interesting. But as of right now, I think it's a media ploy just to get them free advertisement, and it's worked, you know. So you can't really fault them for that. But anyway, 34 minutes, okay. So yeah, I guess this was about Amazon mostly. So yeah, I hope you guys are enjoying everything. Give me your thoughts on Amazon. Is it a big evil corporation? You know, you could be like, oh, screw this Bezos guy. he's like a villain, and huge business is crippling us. And then like 2 minutes later, you're like, oh, I'll buy that. Oh, 1 day free shipping, nice. Don't be a hypocrite about it, but it's a nice service. I understand they employ a bunch of employees. You can't really knock them. I mean, if they don't pay very much, don't work there if you're complaining, But for a lot of like high school kids, I'm sure it's a great job for them. But anyway, we're not going to get into that. That'd be a topic for another podcast. So hope you guys enjoy the podcast. Hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Enjoy the weekend. Like I said, 2 racing videos will be up on the YouTubes this weekend. So be looking out for that. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Matt Malone TV. And so if you guys got any ideas for topics for the podcast, list them down below. And give me your experiences about Amazon, or where you think Amazon is going in the future, and whether or not you use it, or if you're adamantly opposed to it. Let me know. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for hitting that like button. And we'll see you next time. Have a great weekend, guys. Be safe out there and have fun.